So I could easily go over my time limit telling stories about this individual. But I was trying to think of at least one embarrassing story, but then he gets to talk after I do, and paybacks can be brutal. So, no embarrassing stories. The MPL division is known as the Legends, and that's an appropriate title, since these players are often the ones that laid out the early courses, ran the tournaments, helped grow the sport. In other words, the forefathers of disc golf. Dennis Vahsholtz is that legend for the state of Kansas. He and his business partner, his lovely wife Annetta, built Disc Unlimited, and they supported the growth of disc golf not just by providing discs and equipment, but also by giving. For courses they sold, they often bought one of the baskets to help out. If there was a fundraiser, they gave generously. And in 2011, they added Millennium Discs to their repertoire. When I first met Dennis in 1988 at a tournament in Wichita, what I remember is not which one of us won, but that this was some serious competition and I needed to up my game. All the years since, I've enjoyed playing with, camping with, and competing against my friend Dennis. And it's my honor to introduce Dennis Vahsholtz, a member of the 22 class of Hall of Fame.
Well, I've lost a lot of sleep worrying about this speech because I'm not a very good public speaker, but I'll try to get through this. Thanks, Bill, for your kind introduction, and thank you to the hardworking board of the KFDA. This is a massive undertaking, and I sure appreciate it. I'm having one of these disc golfers' dream days so far. My 3 sons are home, and Darren Bottom drove up to kidnap me from work to go play a new proposed course north of White City on some private property, guided by Corey Day. We played whoop and had a grand old time. Not a typical 10-hour day that I normally put in on a weekday. Now I'm having the opportunity to visit with friends that I've not seen for a very long time, and I feel very honored. I thank my lucky stars to have been born in the same year as Bill, along with Buddy Cass. As Bill said, we've played and competed together a long, long time, have a lot of fun stories and memories to share. We were born in the mid-1900s. That sounds like a long time. And we also live in close proximity, share our passion for disc golf, travel to tournaments, competing, having fun, and just being close friends. When Rich called to let me know that I'd been chosen for this Hall of Fame honor, I was kind of shocked because looking out on this audience, I can see faces that are probably more deserving and will no doubt be future candidates themselves. I guess if you live long enough, you're bound to be recognized for something other than having one of the more spasmodic disc golf throwing motions around. Let's just say I can identify with Charles Barkley's golf swing. Well, it's not that bad, but it's still kind of funny. One of these days, I hope to be as smooth as Hal Kurz or Ron Rice. It's going to take some practice. Getting back to the point, why was I chosen? According to my youngest son, Alex, who submitted a nomination letter, he submitted a 5-word nomination letter saying, Dennis Vahsholtz is a legend. I'm sure there's more to it than that. I reread Rich's email letter saying that I was chosen, and it said, as I quote, "This is a tremendous distinction as it is reserved for those individuals and organizations who have significantly influenced the sport through their hard work, performance, leadership, or organizational skills." Well, let's break this down by bullet points. Hard work. Well, I can't argue with that. It has been hard work throughout the years. It's been fun, but if I didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't have done it. Performance, well, I played and competed for years, and at best I'm just a little bit above average. Leadership. Well, this must have been one of the reasons. The first time I discovered there was such a thing as baskets, I knew that I was hooked, and I would be playing this sport a very long time. I needed an easy way to get disc, and I figured if I did, everybody else in the state needed to have the same thing. So we started a company to make it easy for everybody. And in the time, Disc Unlimited became one of the first mail order stores to offer a one-stop shop for customers to buy a multitude of brands at wholesale prices. We have offered clubs and stores a convenient way to get a nice variety of discs at competitive prices. I think every club in Kansas has, at one time or another, has purchased discs from us. We have helped many of these clubs with tournaments and courses in the meantime. I've always preferred doing things behind the scenes. Self-promotion and marketing has always been our weak point. But all the clubs in Kansas knew in the early days, knew where to get their plastic. Joe Rotan once said to me that the disc golf world is littered with the bones of failed disc golf businesses. So we feel very lucky to still be here. The final bullet point is organizational skills, which I have very little of. I come up with an idea and depend on my support crew to help make it happen. I would not be up here without the unfailing support of Vanetta, my wife of 43 years, who dragged me kicking and screaming into the 21st century. Not only setting up the bookkeeping system for Disc Unlimited, but for our other primary main business we ran in conjunction with it for so many years. While Disc Unlimited was running out of their basement, she was designing and acting as project manager while building a house, raising 3 sons, Jesse, Ned, and Alex, spread 4 years apart with all their activities throughout their school years. And eventually working on an efficient layout when we eventually moved into an actual building in town. Talk about working hard and a candidate for sainthood. That's my Annetta. I will be forever in her debt. My 3 sons all have successful businesses in their own right and have helped with the business at one time or another, while Jess is still involved in strategic planning for us. And I mustn't forget Lindy, my business wife of 18 years, that keeps the doors open and orders flowing like clockwork, along with my hard-working work crew, Sarah, Jacob, and Andrew, and Vicki. And you have my sincere appreciation for all the hard work and dedication that you give us to help keep the doors open. And I mustn't forget Sean Wynn, the captain of the Millennium Ship. Many thanks for taking that off my shoulders and doing such a great job. Now for some disc golf stories, but you'll see in some of the flowing PowerPoint presentations, there are some old pictures of one of the first tournaments at Frontier Park, where I made the 2.5-hour trip to Hayes and met Ron Rice, and you'll see some pictures of a young Ron, Les Stryling, and Alan Rohr. And Ron gave me some prizes for traveling the furthest. The next furthest person was from Ellis, I believe. There were only 6 participants at that time. The wind was like normal, blowing like crazy. You'll see some prototype of the tire baskets that I designed. I think it was probably the first clinic to ever be put on with the young kids in the state of Kansas in 1987. It was an inverted tire basket, but it eventually ended up in the Harrington Park, and then I helped Bruce Hudson and Gail Shipman install some of those baskets in the Crestview Park and the Jones Park when they first came here, because at that time disc golf wasn't well known, and the city it was very hard for a city to be talked into spending money on disc golf baskets, which they knew nothing about. And then there's a picture of Harvey Barter in Harrington at the Disc Unlimited Open, delivering 3 baskets to us after our tire baskets got vandalized right before the DU Open. So we scrounged out some baskets to have the DU Open finally, and we had the tournament, and I'll be forever in Harvey's debt for bringing those to us. We still use them, by the way. There was a research done at Harvard University that followed 268 men for more than 70 years. They were trying to find out what is the cause of happiness. And the director of the study summed it up in a simple sentence. Happiness is love, full stop. I've always been a happy person because I not only have the love of my family, but I also have the love of the sport and the people connected to it that share the passion. It's easy to make friends in any city in the world, and you can share something in common with the sport of disc golf. And I'd like to end this speech with a prop. This is Ren Lily Vahsholtz. She is one of the newest members of PDGA. She's still an amateur. I should have had a shirt made out of her, sponsored by Millennium. But her number is 209,545. And hopefully in 20 years' time, when she is competing, the other players will say, how in the world did you get a 6-digit number?
What's your number, Dennis? What's your number, Dennis? What's your number, Dennis?
Oh, my number is 3592.
Yes.
And so I represent I and the other inductees represent the foundations of the sport. Ren Lily and people to follow represent the future. And I hope they have as much fun as we have.